Yes, people, it's your boy Shazmac back again on the finished article with all things wrestling. So we'll get straight into this. I'll bring Shaz on and we'll get straight into this video. Yes, Shaz, how are we, bro? Nice, lovely day whilst you're sat out there in the conservatory. See the sun shining.
It is, bro. I thought I'd just change the scenery, do a podcast from a different location.
Might as well, bro. Might as well whilst we've got the chance with the nice weather. Definitely, bro.
Exactly. Hope everyone's well.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting into today's podcast, bro. Let's do this.
Let's do it. But Shaz, you know what I'm expecting first, bro, from you. So I'll run it. I'll let you run it down, bro. I'll let you run it down.
As always, like the drill goes, boom. So let me bring it up. As always,
it's there already, bro. It's there already.
It is. Nice.
I've got it ready, bro.
Nice. Yes. So I told you guys whenever you watch my podcast, I have to rep this guy, otherwise he's gonna give me an ass kicking. But as always, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment. Without you and your support, we wouldn't be where we are today. As we've mentioned to you, we're on the race to 200. So thank you very much for those that have subscribed. Really greatly appreciate that, and we look to continue to build. And as always, our beautiful Twitter handles are below, as well as our finished article handle, YouTube page, and Facebook page as well. We are, as Shaz has mentioned recently in an update video, we are looking to do a draw for a special prize, which myself and Shaz have discussed. I think this prize will be memorable because it's promoting everybody, and hopefully we can bring you along the journey. And as always, this is a big one down below. Please put your subscription as unhidden because whilst we were reviewing everything yesterday, we noticed that a number of our amazing subscribers' profiles are hidden, and the draw for the mystery prize is coming soon.
Yes, bro. Like I mentioned in the update video, if you've not seen it, the draw was for the first 100 subscribers, but we've now opened it up for everybody. So what we're going to do, because we can't see the list of subscribers, we're going to give you until Saturday midnight. So next week on Saturday, the 6th, I believe, of August, till midnight on that day, UK time, to subscribe. And as long as we can see you on the subscription list, we will add you on to the draw. So please get yourself subscribed, get yourself in that draw to get the mystery prize. But without further ado, we're going to jump into this video, Shaz. So the video today, we were going to do this yesterday, but I needed some time to process this information. The WWE have released Bray Wyatt, also known as The Fiend.
Also known, as if people don't know, from his NXT days as Husky Harris.
When he was part of Nexus, yes. Now, this has come as a big shock to not just myself, but to a lot of people. I know Bray Wyatt hadn't been seen since WrestleMania when he lost to Randy Orton. And the rumors at the time were that he was taking time off to obviously get his mental health in order because he was very close to Luke Harper, or as he was known in AEW, Brody Lee. And as everyone knows, Brody Lee passed away. And obviously that's hit Bray Wyatt quite hard, as well as other people. That hit a lot of the other wrestlers hard. It's hit the fans hard. He was such a great guy outside. He was a very family orientated person. He was very well respected by the other wrestlers, and because of that, it's hit Bray Wyatt hard. They were part of the Wyatt family together, with Eric Rowan and Braun Strowman. So they weren't just obviously peers. They were obviously quite close because they were part of a stable together for so long. They probably traveled the road together. Obviously their families knew each other. It's hit him really hard. Let's just say that. And the rumors were that he was taking time off to obviously deal with that emotionally, mentally, and get himself back. Now, I've read a couple of rumors since obviously the release. So some of the rumors are saying that he was scheduled to be back on WWE TV in August, which is starting today. He was probably going to, I'm guessing from the rumors, they were saying he was probably going to debut. He was going to return at SummerSlam, the pay-per-view this month. And apparently the rumor is that WWE told him that the release was due to budget cuts. What are your thoughts on that, Shaz? What are your thoughts on that so far, bro?
First of all, as much as I love WWE and those that watched our podcast yesterday with Austin, first of all, I'm absolutely
bro. That's not even been released yet. Wait till last release and people hear what we have to say.
Yeah. Now I have to say I'm absolutely disgusted by this news. If somebody who's gone through as much trauma and has given as much dedication to the industry as Bray Wyatt has done should not be treated the way he has. I mean, for them, and I think Shaz discussed this on our drive back yesterday, yeah, it was something to do with mental health or whatever it was. And for them to do that as a company shows lack of respect as human beings, because in this current pandemic, having lost his best friend, I believe, Luke Harper, that is absolutely shocking to absolutely just call somebody. To say it's budget cuts is disgusting, because if you only care about top dollar, then you clearly are not going to maintain yourself as the brand going forward. But
let's be honest, it wasn't to do with budget cuts. Let's just be honest about it. WWE probably wanted him back on TV. He didn't want to come back on because of his mental health. And now WWE have basically just released him. I think it's disgusting. It's a disgusting way to treat someone who's just, who's going through so much difficulty in his life. He recently got divorced from his wife as well. And it's just disgusting. So I know down below there it says Bray Wyatt, but that's obviously not his real name. That was his WWE stage name. His real name is Wyndham Rotunda. He's the brother of Bo Dallas, and they're both the son of IRS, if you remember him, Shaz.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm flabbergasted, because having read through this as Shaz has done as well, I mean, you're looking at the reaction from the rest of the WWE universe as well as the superstars. Everyone is in a state of shock, and I think the powers that be at the top have a lot of explaining to do. Seriously.
So I want to bring this up. Just bear with me. I'm trying to get it on the screen properly.
Go for it.
There we go. Oh, sugar. There we go. So I'm just going to bring this up, Shaz. This isn't a post that I showed you yesterday that Wyndham Rotunda posted. This is a post that he did after Brody Lee passed away. And this just shows how close he was to him. I just want to bring this up because it's quite an emotional post. So there you go. I'll just leave it on the screen for a bit and let people read through it. I'm not going to read it out. There is a bit of swearing, so if you're offended by that, you might as well just not look at the screen. But yeah, I just wanted to show that because that shows the level of passion he had for his friend Brody Lee, Luke Harper. I think his real name was John. Sorry. Now, I'm going to say, I mean, I know we discussed a little bit of this on the podcast that we were on yesterday with Austin, but WWE dropped the ball again. Now, I know on that show, Shaz, you said WWE never had the ball, but I'm going to say that because for so long, WWE were the only company that had a WWE, a wrestling show that was so mainstream worldwide. They did have the ball. It's always been in their court. Really appreciate you tuning in. There's another fan just jumping on there. Rian, really appreciate you jumping on, bro. If you ever want to jump on the show as a guest, give me a shout. We'll get something sorted, bro.
Nice one. Thank you very much, bro.
But yeah, again, WWE have definitely dropped the ball on this. It's absolutely disgusting what they've done to Bray Wyatt. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, even the wrestlers as part of WWE, they're really shocked about this as well. I think the last person he really worked with closely was Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
The Alexa Bliss gimmick at the moment is obviously based off what the gimmick was when she was with Bray Wyatt.
Exactly. So not only does it have they ruined his career, but what are they doing about, say, the Alexa Bliss storyline? I mean,
well, that's going to carry on as its own now. Like So it's just carrying on because she betrayed Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. He lost because of her. So yeah, it's just madness, bro. I don't understand why WWE would let him go. He's such a gifted, talented, professional, performer. And I don't understand why WWE would let him go. But to me now, that is all members of the Wyatt family have now obviously been released. Yeah, obviously, I know Luke Harper's passed away. I know Luke Harper passed away. So you've got Eric Rowan, Braun Strowman, and Bray Wyatt. They've all been released.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman got released a few weeks back. Eric Rowan got released about a year ago. He was actually in AEW for a little bit. He turned up on the tribute show to Luke Harper because I think obviously they were really close. They were a tag team. The Bulgin brothers, they teamed together. They feuded against each other, and he was there to obviously show his support and love for the family. Even Brody Lee's son was on AEW. He still pops up every now and then with the Dark Order, which was the faction, the stable that Luke Harper or Brody Lee was the leader of. Honestly, Shaz, I don't know what else to say about WWE in this. I mean, I could just go on a huge rant, but let's be honest.
Let me jump in. Basically, for those that haven't watched our wrestling podcast, Shaz is very passionate, and trust me, if Shaz opens the kind of whoop ass right now, everyone, including Vince McMahon's, going to hear about it because they have royally, apologies for swearing, but they royally fucked up here because this is disgusting. We're talking about someone's livelihood, mental health, well-being, and if WWE still can't see that because they are so interested in booking cards and booking matches without saying, "Mate, are you fit to come back? Yes, no. Okay, let's look after you. Let's manage you," instead of just cutting them off the books. And no
Do you know what? You're right, Shaz.
Yeah,
you're right on that, Shaz. And this starts at the very top of WWE. So it goes to the board. It goes to Vince McMahon. They're the ones that obviously decide who gets hired, who gets fired, who's coming back on TV, who's not coming back on TV. It all runs through Vince McMahon. So I'm sorry to say this, but right now, this is how I feel, that Vince McMahon is a piece of shit for what he's done. Not just to this guy, but the guy just sold the WWE network to Peacock streaming TV for $1 billion, right? Just listen to that number, $1 billion, and they're making budget cuts. That is absolute bullshit. They're using budget cuts as an excuse to sack people so they can keep more of this $1 billion that they've made. And I think it's absolutely disgusting. And I'm so glad that there's other wrestling promotions out there, not just AEW. You've got New Japan Pro Wrestling, you've got Ring of Honor, and you've got some of the smaller ones that really don't come on TV a lot.
Yeah.
But it's so good that there's these other promotions because people like Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, they can go to these other promotions if they want. I don't think Braun Strowman's really going to... Well, I don't think he was really ready to wrestle again, but now Bray Wyatt's been released. I think that they could, do with Eric Rowan, they could come back as, a reincarnation of the Wyatt family and maybe lead the Dark Order in AEW, which would, I think that would be perfect. I mean, I think Brody Lee would absolutely love his old family members of the Wyatt family to come and join him in the Dark Order. And I think the rumor was before that obviously Eric Rowan was going to debut as part of the Dark Order. But obviously, because Brody Lee passed away, he only came in as obviously a tribute to him and things like that. So that's moving on to what's next for Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Now, I will be honest. If he's not ready, he's not ready. And I'm not saying that he's not ready physically because he's been off WrestleMania since WrestleMania. So physically, his body's recovering. He's probably, he's in probably better shape than what he was before if he's been training. But what I mean by that is when he's ready mentally. Because he's not only, I mean, if he debuts in AEW, that's going to be quite big for him because he knew that Brody Lee was there. Brody Lee was the leader of the Dark Order. And if Bray Wyatt comes in to the Dark Order, into AEW, and Brody Lee's not there, that's going to hit him hard. It's going to hit him harder. So that could affect his mental health even more. So I'd rather him be prepared mentally and emotionally to do that before he actually comes. Because what you don't want is for him to turn up in AEW as the new leader of the Dark Order, maybe with Braun Strowman, Eric Rowan showing up. It'd be an absolute buzz. The fans would buzz off it. I'd buzz off it. But then what you don't want after that is for it to affect him mentally and for him to take more time off.
Yeah,
because of it. You'd rather him be fully ready and prepared before he takes that step. And I'm all for him, doing whatever he wants, spending time with his girlfriend, his kids, whatever he needs to do to get himself ready to come back. Because I don't want it to go down that route where we don't see him wrestle again, and then we wait 4 or 5 years and he turns up in WWE again. I don't want that. I'd rather see him now in another promotion. Because
we had this discussion yesterday whereby we were talking about the fact that instead of reusing material that's long gone past, WWE have disrespected him. And if someone disrespects you like that, I see no point of him ever returning. Have some self-respect, go on to the other brands that Shaz has mentioned, because they're more likely to give you the push time, because WWE creatively are rubbish. Not only that, management-wise are poor.
So like I said, bro, before it starts at the top. It starts right at the top with Vince McMahon, because, I mentioned it on the podcast that we were on yesterday with Austin, that all creative, all production, all writing, everything, scripts, whatever's going to be on the show, who's going to win, who's going to lose, the matches, it's all approved by Vince McMahon. And that's the reason that Eric Bischoff came as the head of SmackDown, and he was gone within, a month, maybe 2 months. He was gone because Vince McMahon was probably saying no to every single idea he had. And Vince McMahon was just throwing his own ideas out there. Vince McMahon thinks that everything he's putting on TV right now is the best thing since sliced bread. But I'm sorry to tell you, Vince, WWE bar NXT is absolutely shocking. Bar NXT, bar the Roman Reigns storyline as the head of the table, I actually enjoy that with the Usos, and that's only because I really like the Usos and I like seeing them where they are.
I would go as far as to say that WWE right now just needs to keep to NXT, because, as Shaz has said, apart from the Roman Reigns segment, the head of the table, the rest of it's just rubbish. There's no point.
It is, bro. It is. It's absolutely terrible. And another thing I want to touch on: what the heck was SmackDown about yesterday, bro? Or the day before?
You finally watched
it. I watched it yesterday, bro. After we did the podcast with Austin, I had a bit of free time and I put SmackDown on. Now, okay, so since John Cena's come back at SummerSlam, we've had him on Raw opening the show. We had him on SmackDown opening the show, and he's on SmackDown again opening the show, right? Which is fine. You want to throw him down our throats. I just won't watch the start of the show. Do you know what I mean? But then you have Baron Corbin come out and literally begging him for money.
Yeah.
And being embarrassed. It's absolutely mental. And then what the heck was the ending with the contract signing, bro? So Finn Balor literally had his hand
on the contract.
He had the pen in his hand and he was about to sign the paper. He saw Baron Corbin get in the ring or whatever and then just stopped, which is fair enough. Baron Corbin was about to sign it, which I thought, okay, Baron Corbin deserves a push. He's there week in, week out. He's performing. He's entertaining. The gimmick that he had as King Corbin was brilliant. And his new gimmicks, well, I'm not really a fan of this gimmick of him, begging for money, because obviously, let's be honest, he's got money. He's being paid by WWE. He hasn't lost any of his money. It goes down that route where the WWE think the fans are stupid. But either way, I would have loved to see him sign that contract and get that title shot against Roman Reigns. I think that would have been a good match. But no, you had big man John Cena come out and sign it. Why? I mentioned this on the podcast yesterday, bro. I'm going to mention it again because it really annoys me. superstars like John Cena and Goldberg, when they come back, they don't need title shots to get pay-per-view buys in for WWE. John Cena's name, Goldberg's name on their own, people will tune in just to watch them wrestle, whether it's for a title shot or not. Like okay, let's say Goldberg returned and he didn't challenge Bobby Lashley. He came out of nowhere. Let's say we didn't even hear his. Picture this, right? Drew McIntyre has just finished his match.
Yeah.
Out of the crowd runs Bill Goldberg, gets in the ring, spears the shit out of him, and sets up a feud. No title on the line. Shock moment. Great for value. You've got a great match for a pay-per-view without a title, and you can give someone else on Raw a title shot against Bobby Lashley. That's win. That's a win-win. And it's the same on SmackDown. John Cena could have come back and gone up against anybody on that SmackDown roster. But what did they make him do? He could have gone after Seth Rollins. I would have loved to see him go after Edge. So yeah, I would have preferred Seth Rollins to get the title shot against Roman Reigns and Edge and John Cena feud, because that's an old feud, and reigniting that hatred between them, that would have been brilliant. I would have loved to see John Cena versus Edge as a feud again without the title on the line.
No, I agree, bro. That's what I mean. They overcomplicate it because they think, oh, I need to bring the superstar back because he's going to bring us money. Well, guess what? You know what? Just by playing John Cena's theme tune, you've already won a lot of people back to watch it. But what they end up doing is, oh, we need to give him a title shot. Well, hang on a second. Been there,
he doesn't need it.
He doesn't need it.
He's had 16 title reigns, and I don't want to see him ever beat Ric Flair's, 16 championships.
That's the problem now. So and I need to talk about this. Thank you for bringing that up, Shaz.
Go for it, bro.
As you've rightly said, there are certain legends in WWE that have made their name and built up the industry. And John Cena, in my mind, love the guy. He's a legend. He's done great. But the fact
he's built up the PG era on his own. I'll give him that. Era,
so he's done that. But what you've done now is you put him on par with Ric Flair. Okay, good. But the problem
that's not good though. No, hold on. No, hold on, bro. That's not a good thing though. You don't want to see John Cena on par with Ric Flair, because in a ring, in their prime, Ric Flair would run rings around John Cena, bro. He'd embarrass him. Even at his age now, he would embarrass him in a ring.
What I mean to say is that when I say it's good, like you said, he's built up the PG era. He's brought new audiences in. He does a lot for the community. That's good. What's not good is the fact that you're now taking the pure art of wrestling, which we saw back in the day, and you're now adding gimmicks and fruity pebbles, as we like to call them, and you're now diminishing because next year's generation or future generations won't know about Ric Flair because they're so obsessed with watching fruity pebbles change colors every 2 seconds. You're like, okay, I might as well get some Smarties while I'm at it. And but
there you go, Shaz.
Fruity pebbles, yeah, exactly. Fruity pebbles, do one. Your time is done, as your theme tune goes.
Your time is up.
Your time
is up. It's not your time now. You need to give that younger roster a chance to shine.
You know what? If he comes back and puts over new talent, fantastic.
Great for him. That'd be great for business. Like these older wrestlers like Goldberg, John Cena, they need to come back and put over the new talent. Or bar Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley, and people like that. The younger talent like Ricochet, Baron Corbin, and other people, they need that big match win to get over. And who better to beat than John Cena or Goldberg to get over, bro?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, they did it. They did right with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre beat Goldberg at WrestleMania for the title, right? Which I thought was brilliant. They used Goldberg as a champion. They put Drew McIntyre over. They got him the title win. That was brilliant. But now bringing Goldberg back to get another title shot for no reason at all, when there's other talent that I think deserves the title shot.
You know what?
I
have to bring this comment on from your boy Shaz. So John Hanna, correct me if I'm wrong about having rings.
Yes, John.
Exactly.
Yes, John, he has. He has. Reigns has beat John Cena. He's been there, done that. He's got the T-shirt. Exactly. But saying that Finn Balor beat Roman Reigns, he's got the T-shirt. You know, he beat him on his way to becoming the first Universal Champion, and that's why I think the feud between Roman Reigns and Finn Balor would have been better, because Finn Balor's got his number. Roman Reigns has never beaten Finn Balor. Exactly. And that would have been a great part of the storyline to bring that up, that Finn Balor has beaten you, you know, and then he went on to beat Seth Rollins to become the first ever Universal Champion, and now he's back again, and he wants that title from Roman Reigns, who he's already beat on the way to gain it before. That's great. That's a great storyline. But WWE ruined it by putting John Cena in it. Why bring Finn Balor to the SmackDown to then give him the opportunity to sign a contract to face Roman Reigns just for it to be taken away from him to give to John Cena? I don't understand. The only way they can fix this, right? This is the way I see it, is they add Finn Balor to the match, make it a triple threat, and Finn Balor pins John Cena to win the title, and then Reigns and Finn Balor have a rematch one-on-one. That's the only way they can salvage that storyline for me. That's the only way that becomes a good storyline. If it ends up with John Cena versus Roman Reigns at at SummerSlam, I'm not even going to watch the main event, because they're just going to put Roman Reigns over. It's not likely that he's going to lose to John Cena, let's be honest. Cena's a part-timer. He doesn't deserve 17 championship reigns. If he wins, that's it for WWE for me. I'm not even going to watch it again. The only part of it I'll watch will be NXT. And I'm not even joking, Shaz. I know you're smiling about it, because I probably said it before that I'm not watching WWE again, and I still watch it. But if John Cena gets that 17th title reign, that's it for me. Until John Cena retires from wrestling, that's it for me. I'm done.
You know, the reason I was smiling was because it's sad how things have come to this state of affairs. John, by the way, thank you very much for commenting. Love the support. But for me, it's basically, as Shaz said, it's about maintaining the brand and promoting it. And John Cena adds no value to winning another. He's had his time. I think it's definitely, you know what, Shaz, the storyline you just came up with, I guarantee you the writers there wouldn't even have that idea in the back of their mind.
That's how stupid they are, bro. Yeah. The thing is, right, these people that are writing Raw and SmackDown, they're not fans of wrestling. They're just writers who get paid to write storylines, just like you would on a TV show like EastEnders or freaking Breaking Bad or something like that. They've hired these people from TV networks to write stories for a wrestling show. But what they don't understand is, in order to write a wrestling show, A, you need to have the knowledge of wrestling and what would be good for the shows. And B, you need to actually be a fan of wrestling to know what type of content is good for the fans. And that's where Vince McMahon, he's probably paying these writers a ridiculous amount of money just to write these stupid storylines, like the Baron Corbin storyline. I think it's ridiculous. The storyline between Mustafa Ali and Mansoor, I think that's stupid as well. Even though I like Mustafa Ali, he's not being used right. Splitting up the New Day, and another stupid thing that they did. Even though they're pushing Big E, which is brilliant. He had the IC title. Now he's Money in the Bank winner. That's great. But he could have done that whilst still part of New Day on SmackDown or on Raw.
No,
he could have still been in the Money in the Bank ladder match, whether he was on Raw or SmackDown. So they could have had him on Raw or SmackDown with the New Day and still do that. And splitting up the New Day, I think that's stupid. I think we discussed it on the show yesterday with Austin that the Usos and Roman Reigns, that storyline, I actually enjoy that. That's probably the best part of SmackDown for me. But what I want to see going forward in there is The Rock come back and fight Roman Reigns. Now, I know people are saying why. Not because I want The Rock to win the title. No. So you have Roman Reigns drop that title in a triple threat match to Finn Balor where he pins John Cena, like I said before, right?
Yeah.
So Roman Reigns can still carry on his storyline. 1 second, bro. 1 second. Apologies, bro. I had to cough there. So what I'm saying is Roman Reigns can still progress his storyline as the head of the table and all this without a title. And the best way to do that is by bringing The Rock back. And then you have the Usos split between them. You know, do we side with The Rock, who's probably brought more money for the family than Roman Reigns? Or do we side with Roman Reigns, who we've been with recently? And then maybe like Austin said, you have Jimmy go with The Rock because he doesn't want to be with Roman Reigns, and we can see that friction still right now. And then you have Jay stay. And then you have maybe 2 or 3 matches where you have Roman Reigns and Jay versus The Rock and Jimmy in a tag team match. And then you finish it off with a brother versus brother, Uso versus Uso. And then you have the other match as The Rock versus Roman Reigns.
No, I agree. And
I'm just going to go grab some water, bro.
Yeah. So to what Shaz has said, I'll just take over. So to what he said, I think that's an absolutely fantastic idea, because what it does is it creates the storyline from a different perspective. It allows a fresh impetus, because currently right now it's quite stale. And what they need to do is to freshen up the talent, freshen up the storylines, because as Shaz has rightly said, the storylines are getting a bit repetitive, a bit boring. And you know what? The Rock would actually put Reigns over more than what he's currently done right now. So it's almost like giving a fresh impetus to the storyline, bringing him on board, and then allow him to relaunch his career once The Rock has put him over. But yeah, go for it, Shaz.
Yeah, no, that. I mean, I think I said pretty much what I wanted to say. I think WWE need to start fresh. So all these writers, get rid of them all, because by the storyline with Roman Reigns, everything else is trash. It needs to be in the bin.
In fact, you know what, WWE, we got
get rid. And like I said yesterday in the podcast with Austin, bro, I'm just going to mention it again. Get rid of these writers that don't know anything about wrestling. Bring in former wrestlers.
Yeah.
Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, X-Pac. Obviously, you've got Road Dogg down at NXT. You know, you can bring back a lot of other people that would be great for the business. Do you know what I mean? Maybe Bret Hart. I think Bret Hart's, you know, one of the legends in the business. You've got Jerry the King Lawler, who WWE don't use properly. Maybe as a writer, because he's been a wrestler in his career.
Exactly.
Maybe, you know, use him. He's probably still. I think he's still signed to WWE. So use him as a writer. Use him as a producer.
You need the guys that have lived this industry from the very beginning to be able to say, look, let's take a fresh approach, because we know how feuds work. We know how groups interact. And as I mentioned on the Austin's podcast yesterday, you need to look at dynamics as well. So certain wrestlers, certain characters will vibe off each other. You need to look at that, because that sells a storyline better than saying, oh, Roman Reigns versus John Cena. Well, hang on a second. We're now in 2021. We saw that in 2016, and we don't need to see it again.
Yeah. Exactly, bro. Exactly. Now, another thing that I have a problem with on WWE is the way AJ Styles is being used at the moment.
Yeah.
AJ Styles is better than being a tag team champion with Omos. He deserves way, way better than that. I think he should, you know, run his contract out. And I wouldn't even say go to AEW, because the problem with AEW is they've got too much talent. They've got a huge roster.
Yeah.
But saying that, they've got 3 shows at the moment. They've got 2 that run on YouTube as like smaller shows. You've got a Dark Elevation on Monday. Then you've got Dark on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, you've got the main show, which is Dynamite. And in August, they're debuting a new show, Friday Night Rampage, which is going to be, I believe, in the hometown of CM Punk.
Yes, you mentioned this on the last
So
podcast.
I think that's possibly where he's going to be debuting. But, you know, with WWE, if AJ Styles was to leave WWE, I would say go back to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was the leader of the Bullet Club there. He could just fit straight back in as the leader of the Bullet Club. Same with Finn Balor. Do you know what? A feud that I would have loved to see on Raw or SmackDown: Finn Balor and AJ Styles.
Yeah, correct.
Right now, I would have liked to see this when Gallows and Anderson were there, because Gallows and Anderson were originally with Finn Balor as the Bullet Club, and then they turned on him and let AJ Styles as the leader. We've got a huge comment here from John. I'm going to bring this up because it's actually a really good comment, Shaz. Yeah, I'm just going to bring it up on the screen and let people read this.
Yeah.
So you can't see our faces, just a bit. You know, we're peeping on. You know what I mean? But John, yeah, you can't blame the writers all the time. Yeah, they also had one of the greatest creative genius under their employ. Yeah, Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Vince. He's okay. Overrules the creative. Vince is the man who thought it was a good idea to have Rollins in a Hell in a Cell and deep. Yeah, I get that. I really do, John. And that's the problem. Vince needs to step down. Vince needs to get more creative minds into the business. I know Vince does say no to a lot of it, but Vince, he probably says yes to the good stuff and no to the bad stuff. But saying that, some of the stuff he's probably said no to would probably be good for TV.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem, yeah.
So for me, Vince should, he can stay as a chairman. Don't get me wrong. It's his company. That's his baby. He's never going to leave WWE. He's never going to retire. Until he dies, he's going to stay there. He bought this company off his dad, and he's done amazing. He's built it up into a global business, worldwide, billion-dollar company, and he's done phenomenal. He's done amazing. Don't get me wrong. Without Vince McMahon, there would be no WWE, there'd be no WCW, there'd be no TNA, there'd be no AEW. And Vince is an amazing, when Vince was at his peak in the Attitude Era, wrestling was amazing. But now that Vince is out of touch, WWE are out of touch. And you're right, Vince is the main common denominator. So he needs to step back from creative, put other people in charge like Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff, and let them run creative. So it's not. So before, what it is they have the writers who then pass that written stuff to, let's say, Paul Heyman or Eric Bischoff. They approve it, but then they give it to Vince McMahon, who approves it, which is the part, that last part there where Vince needs to approve it is the part you need to get rid of. Just let Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff or whoever else approve it and let it go on TV. And if they're not doing a good job, if the ratings tank, sack them and bring someone else in until you get someone that knows what they're doing properly.
The funny thing is, Paul Heyman is already on the show. You've already got him working under Bromley. All you got to do is pluck him and say, listen, I need you to do dual responsibility. Fair enough, let the guy do it, because
he was doing it before, bro. He was the head of Raw whilst he was with Brock Lesnar, I believe.
Correct, yeah.
I don't know if he's still the head of Raw, but the problem was that I don't know. I don't think he could do both because he's going to be very biased towards Brock Lesnar in that way.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Now, I know John's still on. I know he's still watching. So, John, I think what you need to do is get your mic out, bro, and get on the show. Get yourself on the show. Give us your thoughts on the show. Let everyone hear them, bro. We've talked about it before, and I know obviously your schedule, work-wise, and mine are a lot different, but I'm sure we can get something sorted, bro. So hit me up and we'll let me know what shifts you're on this week, and we'll smash some. We'll get a video out and we'll get you on the show, man. Definitely
be great.
Same with Glenn. Same with Chris. I know obviously everyone's busy with obviously work and family and stuff like that, but we can work around schedules. We can fit you in at some time. So yeah, all of you, just drop me a message and we'll with times and stuff, and we'll definitely get something out. But one Shaz. So one last thing. WWE wise, like I said, the only good part of WWE is SmackDown, Roman Reigns, and then you've got NXT, which is the point I'm trying to make is NXT is run by former wrestlers like Shawn Michaels, Triple H,
correct, yeah,
Rain, and Road Dogg. Those four are the main people behind NXT.
yeah.
And if you look at NXT, they give all the talent the right time on screen, and the matches are good. The promos are really good. So why not maybe move Road Dogg and A-Train to Raw and SmackDown, or give Raw to one of them and SmackDown to the other, and let Shawn Michaels and Triple H do NXT together?
I'm in agreement with that. I think that's a brilliant idea. I mentioned on yesterday's podcast that's why NXT is thriving.
Because NXT's proven itself to be really good, right?
Yeah.
And that's because of those four people that I've mentioned. So something's working well. Obviously, you don't want to ruin it by obviously taking them away. But you need, for WWE, for Raw and SmackDown to be good, you need to move either Road Dogg and A-Train to Raw or SmackDown, one each. Or you need to get over people like maybe Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, X-Pac, or those are just wrestlers that I'm naming. I'm not saying that you need to get those specifically, but you need to get over former wrestlers who want to do this job, who are creatively really good. And I know Bret Hart's creatively good. And there's other people that are creatively good. I just can't remember all of the names off the top of my head, like from the Attitude Era. There's a lot of wrestlers that, you could bring back. I mean, even Stone Cold, I know he doesn't wrestle anymore, but creatively he's good. He does his own podcast, the Broken Skull Sessions. Maybe get him out, maybe to do some writing, see how well he does. Get some other wrestlers that are, around still. Look how WWE are using the legends, right? Goldberg and John Cena, I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then look how AEW are using their legends: Tully Blanchard, Sting, Jake the Snake Roberts, Conan. Just look at the difference in the way they're using them. AEW are using them to help build up younger talent. Like Sting is partnered with Darby Allin, and that's helping Darby Allin get over with the fans. Things like that. Tully Blanchard's, creative mind from the Four Horsemen. He's managing FTR. You've got Jake the Snake Roberts, who's the mouthpiece for Lance Archer. Conan's helping out Pride and Powerful, I believe it is, Santana and Ortiz. WWE need to figure out how to use the legends properly. Like JR and the King are probably one of the best commentary teams in the world in wrestling from the Attitude Era. If you ask me, they're the best.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And WWE, for some weird reason, decided to just split them up. They got rid of JR, and now he's absolutely smashing it on AEW. And now you've got the King, who's not even on TV anymore. I think he does like the pre-shows sometimes for pay-per-views. And I don't think he's always on it. And Booker T's on those pre-shows. Why not use Booker T as maybe a producer or a writer? Because Booker T had his own promotion. He knows how it's done. He knows how to book. It's these little things that WWE can fix that can make that product that much better than it is now. And they're going to need to if they want to keep their fans. They can't keep thinking the fans are stupid and expect them to stay tuned in, because the difference is AEW don't think their fans are stupid, bar a couple of issues that they've had, where you had the issue with the John Moxley and Kenny Omega match, with the exploding barbed wire match or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, and a couple of them, maybe small little bits that I didn't really like, but obviously that's just my preference. But I know you said you started watching AEW. So how did you find it? It's just the first episode you watched?
Yeah, just the first episode. I mean, just from a storyline creative perspective, definitely enjoyed it. It wasn't like I was watching something that was scripted. It felt like I was watching wrestling back in the day, where you could actually enjoy it and not have to worry about what was on the internet. It was just a breath of fresh air, and definitely looking forward to just carrying on with the rest of the show. As you said, it's quite entertaining as it gets into it. So looking to just build on that and see how things go.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. I think the first episode that you watched would have been at the end. If you've watched the end of it, is when the Inner Circle formed as the faction.
Yeah, it just got there. Yeah.
Yeah. So Did you watch, obviously, the first match on that show, Cody Rhodes and Sammy Guevara?
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant match, wasn't it? What do you think of Sammy Guevara? Firstly,
I thought he was awesome. I
he's
enjoyed.
awesome, isn't it? So
Yeah,
some of the stuff that kid can do in the ring is absolutely brilliant. And if you keep watching AEW from there onwards, you'll see how better he gets. As obviously he gets more ring time, he gets on the mic more and stuff like that. And I think it's good that they've partnered him with Chris Jericho, as well as Jake Hager and the tag team Pride and Powerful, because it gives him backup, but it also gives him one of the greatest minds in wrestling, Chris Jericho, to sponge off, basically. As a young person, as a young wrestler, you want to be able to sponge off the greats. And who better to sponge off than Chris Jericho? He's done everything. He's done WCW. He did WWE. He was the first ever undisputed champion by beating The Rock and Austin. Do you know what I mean? He's done New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's been the AEW heavyweight champion. He carried AEW from when they started as the world champion for a long time. And the inner circle have helped AEW, progress.
No, absolutely. I mean, definitely going to be carrying on watching it. And as you said, it's a breath of fresh air to watch something that's a bit more innovative, a bit of creative. I've always loved Chris Jericho. Thought he was absolutely genius when he was on WWE. And like I said, it's just good to see him back, although he's a different brand. And it's good to see him putting over other younger talent coming through. So
definitely.
I'll be watching that with much interest going forward.
That's great, man. But a match that I was telling you about yesterday when we were talking to Austin, it's actually happened twice, that match.
Okay.
The match that I was talking about was Will Osprey versus Ricochet.
Yeah.
Which was a brilliant match. What I reckon we should do is maybe, if we can get the right video online, is probably watch it and do a reaction video to it for your first time watching it, man.
I'm glad you mentioned that. We just need to find a video that doesn't get blocked.
Yeah, that's the problem, bro. That's the problem, innit? Yeah. But I think that the matches that they've had, they've been on like smaller promotions, so they've been uploaded onto YouTube and stuff. So hopefully we can get. I'll have a look through and I'll try and get the footage for it so we can watch it on the show live. Don't watch it on your own.
No, I won't. Don't worry.
What we'll do is we'll watch it together on here. I've already seen the match. I believe it was about 22 minutes long. Yeah, so it's 22-minute long video, and it's not on YouTube. This video, it's actually the video has actually been uploaded to Daily Motion. So maybe we can get away with watching that, bro.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, definitely.
And it was over in New Japan Pro Wrestling, the match, and it was in 2016. So what we'll do, bro, when we've got some time, maybe this week coming, we'll do a reaction video to that.
Yeah, sounds good.
We'll get your thoughts on that video, and we'll get it watched on TV. Yeah.
Nice one, bro. Nice one.
All right. But what we'll do, bro, is obviously let you give your final thoughts on obviously what we've discussed today: Bray Wyatt, WWE, and AEW, and then we'll finish up.
Yeah. So as I mentioned at the start, really disappointed and appalled by WWE's behavior when it comes to Bray Wyatt. And we're both in agreement that they could have handled this a lot better. They could have looked after him. With regards to the state of WWE as we speak right now, and I mentioned
that we'll need to speak about that in a whole nother video, bro.
Exactly, yeah.
But actually, no. If you want to hear our thoughts on the current state of WWE, wait for the podcast to come out that we did with Austin. I think it was World of Wrestling. The podcast is called. We'll share the link on the channel when it's out. Go listen to it, and you'll hear all our thoughts on the current product of WWE. And I think we mentioned AEW a little bit.
We'll be doing a part 2, as Chaz has already said.
Yeah. We'll be bringing Austin onto the show on All Things Wrestling at some point. Hopefully this week, maybe the weekend, once he's released the video. Not the video, sorry. So his podcast is audio only. So once he releases that episode, we'll probably give it a couple of days, and then we'll do a part 2 on here, live on YouTube, streamed with Austin on with us, and we'll just pick up where we left off, basically.
No, exactly. So stay tuned for that. And then with regards to AEW, definitely looking forward to just carrying on watching something new that I haven't seen. It's a breath of fresh air. And I'll keep the channel updated on how I find it. And we might have to do a comparison between the two brands.
Yeah, man, we can do that. Once you've caught up a bit more on AEW, maybe like once you've watched the first month and the first pay-per-view, maybe we could do like a video on your thoughts leading up to that first pay-per-view. Now, what you probably should have done before the first episode of Dynamite is caught the pay-per-views that they did before that, because AEW formed, but they didn't have a TV deal. So what they were doing was just pay-per-views.
Okay.
So they did one called All Out and All In, I think it were. There were 2 pay-per-views that they did. Maybe you want to catch those. They were really good as well. But you should be all right catching up just from the first episode of Dynamite.
Yeah, it shouldn't take me too long.
Because that's where the main storyline started.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'll definitely check them out. But and I'll give you my thoughts once I've caught up. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But that's a wrap from my side, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to hand over to finish it off.
Yeah, man. So closing thoughts on the Bray Wyatt situation, that we've discussed, how really appalled and disgusted with the way WWE have treated him, because he's been such a great performer for them. Whether he was Husky Harris, whether he was Bray Wyatt, or whether he was The Fiend, he ran with what he had and did the best he could. And that's all you can ever ask from someone. And for WWE to sack him or release him, whilst he's struggling with his mental health, it's disgusting. And I think I showed you that post. I don't think I've got it anymore on my phone, bro.
No, I saw it.
It's absolutely disgusting where they've treated him. And if I could, I'd write a complaint over to Vince McMahon, but he probably won't read it, so there's no point doing that. If I wrote a complaint into WWE, let's be honest, Chaz, it wouldn't be. Actually, I wouldn't even be able to write it because it's going to be that long. I'm going to need loads of paper. It'll just be a video of me just telling Vince McMahon what I think of him, that he's a piece of shit, and and he just treats people like shit just because he wants to make money. So I hope Vince McMahon probably does hear that, because I think he is a piece of shit for what he's done.
Yeah.
But on the other side, like I said, I think he is, he's done phenomenal with WWE. As a business perspective, as a businessman, he's done what he felt was right for his business. But sometimes you need to think it's right for business, but am I being a shitty person here? And obviously, if Vince McMahon, went down that route, he probably thought, yeah, you know what, that is being a bit shitty. Let's see if I can do it a different way. But I'm gonna leave it there, because I could go on a bit with this, man. I just don't want to go any further with it, because I don't feel, I don't know, man. Maybe on the next video I'll revisit it and give you my collective thoughts on it proper. But right now, that's all my thoughts. Vince McMahon is a piece of shit. WWE is a sinking ship. Besides NXT, and AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, Impact Wrestling, they're all cross promoting. So they're basically swapping wrestlers for matches and stuff, which is bad news for WWE, because there's a lot of dream matches that can happen from that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what we'll do, Shaz, we'll talk about that in another podcast, because obviously this one's about 55 minutes, and I think obviously there's other things that you need to do. There's a couple of other things that I need to do. Obviously we've got work tomorrow. We need to get things ready. So I'll leave it there, bro, and we'll bring that up on probably part 2 with Austin when we get him on. But thank you everyone for tuning in, and there's a 2 sweet for everybody. Before we go though, like I said, if you are subscribed to the channel, unhide the subscription from the settings, or take it off private, whatever the setting is, so we can see your name. That way we can add you to the mystery draw, which we were going to do yesterday, but obviously we've had to postpone it because we've only got 38. subscribers out of 107. So we've only got names of 38 people instead of the 107. So anyone that subscribes from now, well, up until Saturday midnight, if we can see your name, we'll add you to the draw as well. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it with a 2 sweet, and I'll leave it with see you later, peeps.